Hi everybody, Peter Vogt, the Introvert Advocate here. And today's video is about the idea that we often don't know our own strengths as introverts. It's actually an old saying, you don't know your own strengths. And when I was a career counselor, that was probably the first thing I learned, and the most profound thing I learned is that none of us, I shouldn't say none of us, very few of us have any real concept of what our own strengths are. Yeah, we can identify what we're good at in general terms. I'm not saying that we can't, but so often, we are so good at what we do that we don't realize how good at it we are. We don't really see it as a strength. It's just something we do. That's how we sort of poo-poo it. It's just something I do. And when you're an introvert especially, this happens all the time. There are some introverted strengths that you have that you, for the lack of a better term, you probably just take them for granted if you even see them at all. You know, for example, you probably focus really well. You're probably good at working independently, working on your own without having to be babysat all the time. And you know, I could go on and on naming how many introverted strengths that you have. But you yourself, all of us, we're so close to ourselves, and you're so close to yourself that you probably just often don't even see them. It's the strangest phenomenon. It's, like I said, it's one of the first things I noticed when I was a career counselor and started working with people. I'd be talking to people, they'd talk about all these great things that they're doing. I, of course, being the outsider, would point out to them, I'd say things like, you know, that's a really good skill you have, or, you know, that's a really good quality you have, a real good personal quality that you have. And I would just see this little light bulb go on above their head frequently, that this was the first time that they had ever really thought about such a thing. So we all have to be careful about this and be aware of this phenomenon, this strange phenomenon of not knowing our own strengths. And when you're an introvert in particular, you got to be very conscious of the fact that there are probably introverted strengths that you have that you take for granted, that you just don't see. So what can you do about it? One of the best ways that you can identify what these things are is to ask other people what they are. Ask trusted other people in your life. What are my strengths? And you can just tell them straight up. I'm not looking for some kind of pat on the back sort of thing here. Tell them that you're just genuinely trying to figure out what it is that you're naturally good at, especially when it comes to that part of you that is your introversion. There are so many strengths that are part of that specifically, and just tell people that you're just trying to get a handle on them. One of the coolest exercises, probably the coolest exercise I ever learned as a career counselor, was this thing called, it was an exercise called quality awareness. The quality awareness exercise. I don't still have the original sheet that I had for this, but I have found another one online, and here's how it works. Let me just show you a picture of this. This is just a list that I found. It's actually from the Mayo Clinic Wellness Coaching Program. And it's just a list of different personal qualities, different personal strengths that somebody might have. Let me just read you a few of these. Driven, funny, mindful, persistent, thoughtful, etc. There's probably 100 on here, literally. And you can find, if you just look up on Google, list of strengths or something to that effect, which is what I did today, you can find sheets like this. And here's how you can use them. Again, to try to pinpoint what your introverted strengths are. Find 5 or 10 or however many people you want in your life, and make copies of a list like this, and just ask them, would you please go through this list and circle for me the characteristics, the qualities that you think describe me. So in other words, you're asking them to pinpoint what your strengths are. And you just ask a bunch of people. Just ask, like I said, 10, let's say, 5, 3, whatever you want. And what you do then is gather these sheets of paper once people have done that, and you look for trends. You look for consistencies. You know, for example, if you give this to 8 people and all 8 people say that you're resourceful, that might tell you something, right? That might tell you that you're seen as a pretty resourceful person, even though maybe you don't necessarily always think of yourself that way. And so it's just a simple way to pinpoint what some of your strengths are. You don't want to make this really cool. If you want to make it even more interesting, which is where the real power of this thing comes in, take one more sheet and you do your own self-assessment of your own strengths. Then compare that to what the other people in your life have said about you, and look for spots where they have circled something and you have not. For example, let's say that all 8 people that you shared this sheet with, let's just say that they all circled the word influential when they were thinking about you. And yet you didn't. You went past it and you thought, I'm not influential, I won't circle that. What does that say? Well, that just reveals a blind spot that you might have, which is the whole point of this video. That maybe you're just way more influential than you think you are, because lots of other people are apparently seeing it in you. So again, we just don't know our own strengths. And this is just a simple way to start figuring them out, especially the strengths that you have as an introvert. I really encourage you to give this some thought, because there's so much in you that you have to offer. All your introverted stuff and all the rest of you as well. And if you can just identify it, then you can start to offer it to the world. I hope that gives you some food for thought for today. As always, thanks for watching this video, and thanks for watching all the other ones that I've made as well. If you like what you see, if you find it helpful, please share it with other people in your life. And in the meantime, if you'd like to learn more about what I do with introverts and introversion and all the research and writing and course presenting and all the rest that I do, just visit me as always at introvertinsights.com.